Hey guys, MrPokke here. Just gonna be a quick off-stream video because the drip marketing for version 3.6 is finally gonna be out actually one day after the actual live stream trial, which I guess makes a lot more sense now because they wanted to delay this after they actually revealed March 7th and Danheng. So guessing what's gonna be happening is Evernight, which is gonna be March 7th, shown over here. Danheng, probably the 4 or the 5 star. I'm guessing Elysia or like Cyrene or whatever. She's probably gonna be the next 5 star because they hyped it up to be like D, N, or B, alright? So not sure if all 3 of these units are going to be coming out within 3.6 or if they're going to be spreading out across 3.6, 7, 8. Let's just take a look into Evernight, which is going to be March 7th here. The third month of Amphorius is the month reserved for the Veil of Evernight. Then let us call this incarnation the shadow of her Evernight. Mysterious foreign guest in the secluded memory zone, candlelight cast echoes of the past softly fading away in the mist. Evernight, a child of remembrance born from the shadow, Chrysos hair who conceals the core flame of time. You shall stir the tide of oblivion, guarding the wish of the mirror soul. Don't worry, I will watch over your path of trailblaze, no matter the cost. Affiliated city beyond the sky, veil of overnight, Oronix, question mark. So taking a look into the actual design over here, you can see this. I'm not sure if you guys play Epic 7. There's this unit called Spectral Witch Tenebria. When I first saw her in this mirror thing, it just instantly reminded me of her. But that aside, yep, that is going to be our Goth March 7th in the flesh right here, being the Eyes 5-star Remembrance. From the looks of it, it does appear that she will be actually having a summon related to this goldfish-ish, like goldfish plus jellyfish combined into one, this sort of like aquatic creature, which is gonna make sense because we are gonna be entering into the aquatic zone in version 3.5 alongside with the brand new high silence domain, Fontaine 2.0, 3.0 all over again, right? So you can see over here in this page, she does appear to be a lot more mongas, and I just want to bring up this little tweet over here, which I think is very, very interesting. And that is, if you do not look at the year, the Interstellar Journey PV was released on April of 25. So this is going to be one day before the launch of HSR, which is April 26. And the Deliverer PV was released yesterday, August 2. Both of them have March 7th holding the umbrella, which is, if you guys go back into the original PV. So if you go back to the original PV as well as this PV, you can see that the literal transformation from the March 7th holding the umbrella and then changing back into this current evil March 7th or like Goth March 7th as of today. And this is exactly 3 months and 7 days apart. This and not including the year, which is why the name March 7th literally fits into the game's PV, which I thought was extremely interesting. And then on top of that, today's drip marketing came exactly 3 months and 7 days after the last HSR anniversary, which I just thought that the timing for this game is it's just really quite interesting that they actually planned all this together, right? So yeah, this is the original PV. So this is gonna be from the Interstellar Journey, and then this is gonna be from her actually from yesterday's PV over here. So you can see it's pretty much the exact same, and you can see like the entire transformation into the brand new Chrysos hair of time, right? So I would want to go into a little bit more of a speculative detail as to what she actually might be doing. So taking a look into the actual design, first of all, she had basically removed the happy colors and basically changed into the more darker colors over here. It's gonna be black flowers, you know, red, a little bit remnants of Akron as well, and then the entire robe is gonna be completely done in black now, and now I'm wearing the black hues and everything. So definitely, considering the change in personality, maybe something happens to March 7th in 3.5, and then she's finally gonna come back in and reveal in this brand new form by 3.6. Now, I definitely don't think she's gonna be a villain, but more so like she's basically locked in, right? I think there's more so of this line because I don't think she's ever gonna make a villain. It doesn't really make too much sense. But in regards to what I think she's probably doing, first of all, Eyes Remembrance, which means she's gonna be the exact same class as Wise Path compared to your RMC Trailblazer, right? And RMC Trailblazer summons Mimi, and this time March 7th is gonna be summoning the jellyfish. First of all, I hope the jellyfish actually gets a voice. Unfortunately, we don't really get any eyes here because, you know, jellyfish has no eyes. But if we do have a voice for the jellyfish, then, you know, we could see some potential cooking in the making, right? And aside from that, it's basically down to, I would say she probably feels like a DPS to me. Reason why I say this is because if she's going to be a support, she will be extremely clashing with Remembrance Trailblazer. And we have seen from quite a lot of the teasers as well as the lore, the PVs, the build-up, that Elysia or Cyrene, she is also very closely tied with Remembrance Trailblazer, or like the current arc that we are going to be enforced in, right? So I feel like because of like paying attention to the HSR story, it can sort of derive what possibilities they actually have for their in-game kit, and not through a process of knowing what this March 7 is probably doing, but from the process of elimination of, I think, Cyrene, she is probably gonna be the support equivalency of a, the Remembrance, big Remembrance support, which is somewhat similar to how Fuke essentially replaced Harmony Trailblazer's role towards the end of version 2 over there. And then in this place, we are about to reach the end of the Enforced arc by 3.7, because they did mention by 3.8 we are gonna be going back into Penacony. So as the end all be all for Enforced, they probably would send us off into version 4 by releasing a support extremely close to the end of version 3, such as in this case Cyrene, so that this support can actually bridge the gap into version 4, which is exactly what they did with Fuke and Sunday, bridging the gap from the later end of version 2's archetype into the version 3 DPSs that is going to be releasing. And I feel like this cycle is probably going to be staying true, because you want to sort of have a unit, because if you were to release a brand new DPS at the end of version 3, it gets a little bit hard to market the brand new version 4 DPSs. And usually, as of the past couple of banners, every single time when a big boom comes out, DPSs tend to be like the one that makes the most amount of impact, right? Except for, I guess you should want to say Black Swan and Sparkle in version 2, because the bridge into that was a runway into Black Swan Sparkle, and then immediately following after, we're going to be seeing Barbarian, we're going to see Boot Hill Firefly, and a brand new archetype. So maybe this whole theory, it could just go out the window, depending if you're going to be able to see a brand new archetype in version 4. From what I'm guessing is that Mimi, or like Cyrene, she probably will stay close to the entire purpose of being Remembrance, which means that this entire arc of the Remembrance team DPS probably wants a rounded up support to match up with the entire cast in version 3 before exploring more possibilities in version 4, right? So for all those reasons, I think Cyrene is probably going to be the last support before we run out the Enforced arc, which means that March 7, since support might potentially be out of the window and Ice Remembrance is going to be RMC, I think she's probably going to be a Ice Remembrance DPS, either a DPS or a sub DPS, because we have not gotten a Ice Remembrance at all, aside from Mimi, and D Herta was a unit in version 3 that was technically also an Ice DPS, but she's more linked towards this whole Evolution scenario when you pair up with your Bubbin, with your Anexa, with your Tribis. So I want to see a possibility of March 7th being a DPS or sub DPS that complements an environment that we are shifting away from Erudition based content, likely either single or trio destruction targeting, like your, for example, Aglaia, right? So if this is going to be a possibility, I can also foresee Evernight, right, March 7th, fitting very nicely with RMC, which I guess just also makes sense lore-wise, like why you would want to run, the entire team of the Trailblazers in one team. So I'm guessing by tomorrow, when Dunhane releases, I think that probably would be the roundhouse to basically create this trailblazing team in version 3 of March 7th, Dunhane, and Steady or Kalos all in the same team. And then one last unit is probably going to be Cyrene, right? Then you can actually run out Cyrene as a end-all be-all support, buffing up your Evernight, and the RMC is also going to be a buff. You get a double support for your hyper carry March 7. And then Dunhane, I don't know if it's going to be a support or a sustain, but since we already have a DPS slot being Evernight, and then since we already have a support slot potentially being Cyrene, Dunhane, I think he's probably going to be the sustain slot. And the reason why I don't think Evernight is going to be the sustain slot is because we literally just had Hyacinth as the Remembrance sustain, I think less than 2 patches ago. So I don't think you're going to be coming this up anytime soon. And to space out the gap a little bit more, I think Evernight over here is probably going to be the DPS. But again, these are all just my thinking, my perception, playing the game and seeing how the story unfolds, seeing all the different units come out for the past one entire patch for Enforced. So by process of elimination and by linking the bridge together, this is what I feel Evernight probably will be doing, because at this point nobody knows what she does, right? And we literally just had a drip marketing for Hyacinth and Ceridra. Oh, and speaking of Ceridra, I'm guessing releasing Evernight as a DPS makes even more sense now, because Ceridra is released out to be a support, that allows you to cast your skills simultaneously. And the only, I would say, 2 real units that stands to gain the most as of right now, actually it's really just going to be Final, because Final skill multipliers are absolutely insane. You could slap on an Archer, you could slap on an Alexa, but the individual skills that my previous video has mentioned is not going to be as high compared to Final. So I'm not sure if March 7 is going to be a skill-based DPS, but since we literally just had Saridra, I think releasing Mark 7 as a DPS that can complement to Saridra, especially for players who have decided to skip Final, also makes more sense in the landscape of introducing new units to the team, right? So with all these being said and done, I guess what is probably gonna be happening is if Mark 7 was a skill based, assuming that she works with Saridra, if she doesn't, then it is what. But if she did work with Saridra, a skill based Remembrance DPS is probably the first we have seen, because for Aglaea's skill, she summons Mimo Sprite, right? And then for Kazri's skill, you don't really care too much about it, unless because the majority of the damage from Kazri is going to be coming from pull-ups. So it would be quite refreshing to see a Remembrance-based DPS that actually focuses on using their skills, in which in this case, Saridra can cause a duplicate of the same skill. So maybe like if you do a skill, Mark 7 can combine the joint attack. So maybe for example, Aglaea's joint attack is based on the basic. Maybe Mark 7 can also have a joint attack with the jellyfish based on the skill. And then you duplicate it with Saridra. At this point, I'm just completely theory crafting on what she could be, because it gets me very excited to see all these units coming into HSR, right? So yeah, that's my personal guess. Then if I had to guess an ultimate, I don't know, summon the jellyfish, make more jellyfish, creates a buff, a aura, increase attack, something that has to do with the summons dealing more DPS, because that is sort of like what the entire Remembrance cast is about, making the summons do the highest possible amount of damage, right? So that is gonna be pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think below for March 7th. That was a brand new drip marketing for Evernight. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the release of the next drip marketing, which I'm guessing is gonna be Dunheng, right? Because I think they're probably saving up either Cyrene for all the way at the end, which is like 3.6 going to 3.7, or they make Dancing the Drip marketing for, I don't know, a 4 or a 5 star, and then Cyrene is gonna be the next 5 star that comes in this patch. I'm guessing it's probably not within here, and they're gonna spread out a little bit more, just like how in version 3 of Amphorius, they spread out the cast all the way in the, like, I think like 5 entire patches. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Word of the day is going to be Gulp. Join Twitch, join YouTube, join Discord, join Twitter, join Twitter. Join our Patreon for all of our anime videos. Use code POKKE for 10% off gamer subs. All the best for Gacha Boost. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.